Hello there, everyone. Today we are going to be painting something that reminds many of us of summer and warm weather. Ice cream. Who doesn't love a nice, refreshing, cold treat on a hot, sunny day? So, to get started, you will need your canvas board, which is this hard board you will be painting on. It's actually a piece of cloth stretched over cardboard. Artists like to use canvas because it lasts much longer than paper. You will also need your paints on a tray or plate, a cup of water, only filled halfway or less, some paper towels to clean off your brush, a pencil, and a scrap paper under your workspace so cleanup will be quick and easy. Make sure to write your name on the back of your canvas board right now. And then lay it back. Lay it on your desk so that it is the tall way or portrait style, because we are going to stack 3 scoops of ice cream. If you are choosing to draw your ice cream cone freehand, make sure you have an eraser handy, just in case you make a mistake or two. The first thing you need to do is find the middle of your canvas and point your finger there. Then you're going to draw a very big letter V from a little bit below so that you have a nice good size cone to paint. If it is too small, you won't be able to fit much paint into the area for your cone. Next, you're going to draw 3 circles on top of your cone that are a little wider than the cone. So I'm going to show you with my hands. So I'm going to draw one that goes out a little further than the cone. 1, 2, 3. The top circle or scoop should be near the top of the canvas. If it is not, you might want to take some time to erase and make the scoops bigger so you'll have a big enough area to paint your flavors. At the bottom of each of these circles, I want you to draw a bumpy line to show where the scoops meet and squish together. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to go bump, 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 and then I would erase that. So now it looks like a scoop. So at the bottom, I'm going to go bump, 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 and erase. Now you can see a little bit of the pencil. Don't worry, the paint will cover that. Bump, 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 bump. And then you would erase. Now if you want a cherry at the top, you can draw a small circle near the top. Okay, oh, and if you want maybe some chocolate sauce, you can do a wavy line below like this. All right, so that's if you draw your ice cream freehand. If you'd like to use a tracer, or if you did trace, here's what you're going to do. You're going to line up your tracer on top of the canvas, if it's not already done, and press your hand down and carefully go around the edges. Okay, now I got to separate the scoops. So I'm going to go to the upper area of the scoops. I'm going to go bump down one. The second bump, I'm going to draw a dot. And then I'm going to go on this side, bump down to the second. And I'm going to connect them, bump, 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 bump. There's my scoop. Now I'm going to go down 2 more. 1, 2, draw a dot. Go on this side, 1, 2, draw a dot. And go bump, 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 bump. Got my second scoop. Then I'm going to go down to the last one. Bump, bump, draw a dot here. It's right where it meets the cone. Do bump, bump. Okay. Then at the top, I'm going to finish off this little circle for my cherry. And then I'm going to draw my wavy line for my chocolate sauce. All right. So now I can put my pencil down and get ready to paint. We are going to do the background first. And we want to be neat and try not to be messy while we paint. We want to notice if the paint gets on our hands or arms and clean it off so we don't get our clothes messy. So I'm going to show you how to make a rainbow tie-dye background. And you can follow along with me or paint your own background. If you only want to paint your background one color, please be polite and patient and raise your hand to ask your teacher for more paint because you would need it if you're only doing one color. So I'm going to start at the bottom, and I dipped my brush in red. That's the first color of the rainbow. I'm doing red at the bottom because there's going to be a red cherry at the top, and if I painted red at the top, you wouldn't see the cherry. So I'm going to paint a little bit of the bottom red. And I'm going to be really careful holding my brush like a pencil, you guessed it, as I get close to the cone. And I want to cover the whole bottom edge. And notice I'm even going onto the scrap paper. Okay. Now, once I'm done with the red, I want to clean my brush really good. So I'm going to dip it in the water. X is at the bottom, so I really get all the paint out. Never bang your brush on the side of the cup or you will splash paint everywhere and make a mess. Once my brush is clean, I'm going to wipe it on the paper towel. Now I'm ready for my next color in the rainbow. Do you remember? Yep, it's orange. So I'm going to dip in orange. And I'm even going to overlap some of the orange on the red so it kind of mixes together like a real rainbow or tie-dye effect. And I'm going to be careful once again. Once I get close to my cone, I'm going to hold it really steady and go slow near that edge. Okay. Now if I don't like this little line that's created, I'm going to dip a little bit of red, my brush in the red, and kind of blend the red and orange together. Okay, I'm going a little fast. You can take your time and go a little slower. All right, so then once I'm done with the orange, I'm going to, again, clean my brush, making X's at the bottom of the cup. And who knows the next color in the rainbow? Yellow. Yeah, you want to make sure your brush is really nice and clean for yellow because yellow is so light. So I'm going to dry my brush off, dip in the yellow, and I'm going to paint my next color, my tie-dye rainbow background. And I'm going to be really careful. Again, I hold my brush. Sometimes I rest my hand on the desk to go careful around the edge. Because if you get a little paint inside the ice cream, that's okay. You're going to paint over it later, so don't worry too much. But you want to practice being neat like an artist and being careful when you get to the edge. All right, so I'm going to do yellow up a little bit. And then when I'm done with my yellow, I'm going to go to my next color. Do you remember what color that is in the rainbow? Green. So I'm going to clean my brush again. And I'm repeating the same directions. I'm being a neat artist. I'm going all the way to the edge. I'm covering my whole background. And I'm being careful when I get to my ice cream scoops. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of green on both sides, overlapping over the yellow so it kind of blends nicely. Okay, and then when I'm done with green, clean my brush. What's next after I clean my brush in the rainbow? Blue. Okay, so I'm going to do some blue across, overlapping over the green. Oops, I got a little in the scoop, that's okay. So remember the background is the space covering all around your drawing of your ice cream. I actually want to fix where that yellow and green meet a little bit better so it really looks tie-dye. And you can go back and adjust if you need to. Okay, I like that a little bit better. And then my last color in the rainbow today is going to be purple. Okay, so I cleaned my brush, dried it off, and now I'm going to paint all the way to the top edge so none of the background is blank. So the only blank space is the ice cream. All right, so now if I have a smaller brush, I might want to switch to a smaller brush going inside the ice cream. All right, so I'm going to switch brushes. And I'm going to start with the cone and the chocolate sauce. So we're going to need to clean our brush. You might want to go change out your water right now. You can pause the video because your water might be full of dirty paint. But I'm not going to do that for purposes of the video. So now I'm going to dip in the brown. And I'm going to be careful. Actually, I've got to make sure that's drier. I'm going to be careful to stay inside the lines. This is where it's really important that you try to stay inside the lines. I'm using a smaller brush, and I usually paint the outside edge first. Okay. Now I'm going to go up to the top and do the chocolate sauce. Now the brown might need a couple coats. What that means is you might need to let the brown dry and then do another coat so it gets a little darker, like chocolate sauce. So if you need a little break from painting, you can do that. But for the video, Mrs. Busco doesn't need to do that because you guys can do that on your own time. Okay, so I've got my cone. You see how I already put a little second coat? It looks a little neater here. It's going to need some time to dry though. Okay, take your time. All right, so I'm going to move on and I'm going to work on my scoops. I think I'm going to do my favorite color as you see here. Flavor mint chocolate chip. So maybe you want to do that, or maybe you want to do a different flavor, a different color. That's up to you. For mint chocolate chip, it's not just going to be green. It's going to be green and a little bit of white. Because I think when the ice cream company makes their paint, they start with the milk, which is white, and then they add all their ingredients. So I'm going to paint. I mixed a little green. Maybe you want to do blue mixed with white or something else. Notice my green scoop is not next to a green background. So it probably wouldn't be a good idea to paint this scoop green because the background's green. So you want to think about that when you're making your decisions on what color you want your scoops to be. Now Mrs. Busco's going a little fast because I really want you working, but as you know, having me, we take our time. I might need to also do 2 coats of that green, but I want to let that green dry. So next I'm going to go up to my next scoop. And I'm going to do a raspberry flavor. So for raspberry, I'm going to mix in my paint plate some pink and purple. If you don't have pink, red and white makes pink, and then you can add purple. If you're choosing raspberry, maybe you don't want to do raspberry. Like I said, the scoop colors are up to you and whatever paints you have available. So I'm going to carefully hold my brush, pick a pencil, stay neat inside the lines. Like I said, I'm going a little fast just because I'm making this video, but I know you artists won't do that. You'll take your time. Notice my hands are not covered in paint. I really don't touch the surface when I'm painting. If you have to, you can. You can wipe your hands off on the paper towel or go clean up at the sink. The last scoop I'm going to do is a vanilla color. Vanilla is a light color. It's not white like a piece of paper. So you may have to mix white and a teeny bit of brown and a teeny bit of yellow in an empty space on your plate. So I'm going to take some white, I'm going to take some brown, I'm going to take some yellow and stir it around. It's a little dark, so you probably really only need a teeny bit of brown and yellow for your vanilla. I like that. All right, so now I'm going to paint this vanilla near the top, and I'm careful. I don't want to get it inside the chocolate sauce, which I just did, but I'm probably going to go on top of the chocolate sauce later because it needed a second coat once that's dried. Okay, and I'm also Going to be really, really careful and slow. If you have a smaller brush, it's better than what I have. But I'm going to draw the texture of the cone. Actually, I need a second coat of brown, so we'll do that quick. So you'd want to get your brown done. If you need 2 or 3 coats, that's fine. But I want to do the texture of the cone. Now, I don't like that this still shows, so if I were doing this in the classroom, I'd probably do 3 coats of brown. Once that's dry, though, I'm going to take my vanilla color I just painted, and I'm going to make the texture of the cone. So I'm going to do little, careful, skinny. I'm pressing gently with my brush. If I press down too hard, the lines will get thick. I'm doing some diagonal lines to the right, and I'm doing some diagonal lines to the left, or to the left this way actually. And it's making like X's, and there's the texture of my cone. So then I need to cover or paint my cherry at the top. If I want to do a little stem, I have to again be really careful with painting a skinny line for the stem. All right, and then I can add some chocolate chips or sprinkles or whatever I want to finish off my sweet ice cream. So for chocolate chips, I'm just dipping and dotting the chocolate chips. For sprinkles, if I want bright sprinkles up above, you just need to make sure you clean your brush every time you change color. So I'm going to do some bright sprinkles here. Maybe near the top I want to do some pink. You can add some glitter if you have it. Whatever you have, take your time. I'd probably add more sprinkles like you see in my finished piece. When you are done, you're going to need to clean up after yourself. You will bring your finished painting over to where your teacher tells you. Make sure you're raising your hand. Then you're going to carefully carry it like this, like a pizza, not on its side. Then you're going to bring your paper plate and your paper towels to the garbage. Also this paper that's under your painting. You'll carry your cup and your brush to the sink. You may need to ask for a wipe to clean any messes you make, then you can wash your hands. And the last thing you need to do is say a huge thank you to your teacher for helping you make this sweet ice cream painting project a fun day. Thank you to all my artists for being such great listeners, workers, and most of all, amazing artists all year. Have a fun and refreshing summer. I hope you enjoyed working on this sweet treat project with me. See you soon.